everybody. It's hour 2. Can you believe it? Another hour of this? So much more, quite frankly. We have hours and hours and hours times 100 available in the form of archived health webinars that you can have immediate access to as a Dr. Glidden Insider, as a monthly or a yearly subscriber to my online health recovery information. Also included for no extra charge, 3 hours of live chat a week, sometimes 4, sometimes 5 hours of live chat a week. We live stream the radio show, of course. That's free. You don't have to be a subscriber for that. We have DVDs that you can use. That's not part of the subscription. That's an extra thing you can get. But we give discounted sales to Insider members every now and again. It's a good expenditure of money as far as I'm concerned. $20 a month with me is 1,000 times more valuable than medical insurance. And I know that Obama says medical insurance is mandatory now, but if I were you, I would pay the fine. I would put a little bit of money away every month until you have, 7, 8, 9, 10 grand in the bank. And you can use that as your rainy day medical fund. Heaven forbid, you get T-boned at the intersection by a drunk driver, or you fall off of your roof and break your leg and you actually need the acute trauma care delivered by the MDs. Right? And, pay the fine. Pay the fine that the government is going to levy against you because you don't have medical insurance. Why do I advocate not using medical insurance? Because it buys you access to the leading cause of bankruptcy and the leading cause of death. That's why. It gives you access to MD-directed medicine, which doesn't work. Not for chronic diseases, it doesn't work. And that's a fool's errand to want to support and promote that system. Better to educate yourself, better to spend that money on nutritional supplements, don't you think? I mean, which is more likely to support your body's ability to optimize its structure and function? $300 of the world's best medical nutrition supplements, or $300 of medical insurance? Which is going to be better for your health? Does medical insurance do anything metabolically for your body? No. And by the way, when you buy medical insurance, what are you doing? You're betting you're going to get so darn healthy you won't be able to afford it. So darn sick you won't be able to afford it, right? I mean, isn't that what medical insurance is? Oh, I better pay my medical insurance premium. Oh, I might have $5,000 of medical. Oh my God! It's as insanity heaped upon insanity in a crazy swamp, which is where most people live. And then they wonder why they have hoof and mouth disease, for goodness sake. They wonder why there's mold everywhere. You live in a swamp, you knucklehead. Get out of the swamp. Eliminate the 10 bad foods. Give your body the medical nutrition that it demands, that it needs. Give your body a leg up. Give your body a chance to recover its health, and 9 times out of 10, it does just that. It's a much smarter thing to do, to walk through life with a nutrified body, eliminating foods that have a deleterious effect on your health, than keeping your fingers crossed, hoping that you're not going to get sick, and leaning on your high medical insurance premium a month. Because I got to tell you something, all that's going to do when the ship finally sinks, when the chickens finally come home to roost, the only thing that your medical insurance is going to afford you is access to the worst system of medicine on planet Earth for chronic disease. MD-directed, pharmaceutical centrist, allopathic, reductionistic insanity. Ohio's up next. First, we have Leon, who's got a question about coconut oil. Hey, Leon, thanks for the call. You are live.
Yes, I'm quite curious as to your thoughts in regards to coconut oil, because I've heard that, of course, it's a medium-chain fatty acid and doesn't react in the body like the polyunsaturated oils.
Well, there's a difference there. You're right that it doesn't. Medium-chain fatty acids have a different reaction than the long chains do, but nonetheless, there's still an oxidative process that's going to happen, and it's only a matter of time until even coconut oil becomes oxidized. And this is our problem with oil generally. It's got nothing to do with hydrogenated or non-hydrogenated or long chain or short chain. It's the oxidative process that happens, right? Oxidative damage causes everything to die. I mean, that's the second law of thermodynamics. Everything decays, right? Everything decays, everything dies, everything enters into a state of dissolution. It's only a matter of time. Mountains turn to dust, iron turns to rust. Well, your body also decays, and one of the main players in the active degradation, natural degradation of tissue in the body is oxidative stress. Oxidative damage caused by an oxygen atom that's lost an electron, which is referred to technically as a free radical, right? So, you're right. Our whole thing here, man, is look, you're not going to go outside in a pouring rain or in a snowstorm in your bathing suit. You're not going to do that because that stress is going to hurt you. Yeah, you need to avoid as much as possible the stress of life, and you need to guard yourself against the stress of life that's inevitable. A lot of life stress is inevitable, but if you can guard yourself against it, strengthen yourself against it, it's a much better proposition. So this is why we have a blanket across-the-board prohibition on oil, because of the oxidative damage which ultimately must happen to the oil. Now, you can make the argument, and rightly so, that coconut oil oxidizes the slowest of all the oils, and it does. But, it still oxidizes. So, if you want to add oil into your diet, so what are your thoughts on this, Leon?
Well, I've read a whole book by, I think, of Dr. Fife about it, and he claims it cures everything from headaches to hemorrhoids, and including using it topically.
Well, he's an MD, right?
I don't remember. I read the book. That's possible.
Yeah. Well, I just want you to consider, and this is an important thing to consider, right? I mean, the perspective that we bring to bear on data points is important, and if we miss a data point or two, our entire conclusions can be skewed. And the metaphor that I use all the time is, if you didn't really know anything about astronomy and you didn't know anything about the configuration of the solar system, you could go outside in your yard and measure the position of the sun in the sky every day, and you could predict with reasonable accuracy where the sun was going to be in the sky at any moment in time. And then, after collecting mountainous amounts of data, you could then reasonably conclude, well, hey, the sun moves around the earth. The earth is standing still, and the sun revolves around the earth. I mean, look, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. It's the sun that's moving, you knucklehead. I can see it with my own two eyes. But you've neglected the big data point of gravity, right? You don't know anything about gravity. You don't know anything about mass attractions and gravitational fields and all of this. So you would be drawn to the wrong conclusion. And this is what happens frequently. Not all the time, but most of the time when MDs start to get their feet wet with the holistic waters, because they leave out huge data points which are necessary in order to draw a cogent, truthful conclusion. But because they don't know that they're leaving those data points out, it's like the colorblind art critic who doesn't know that they're colorblind. They're just going to go on criticizing the art. And so it's an interesting thing to talk about. But in any event, this is our rationale. It's like, look, avoid as many landmines or potential landmines as is humanly possible. So
that makes sense.
This is why we say, avoid the coconut oil. Now, you ever hear of Edgar Cayce?
Yes, I have.
Well, Edgar Cayce was a remarkable human being, right? The sleeping saint. And Edgar Cayce would go into a trance state, and he would do psychic readings on anybody anywhere in the world. He didn't even have to be in the same room with them. And he would then tell them, in his psychic fugue, so to speak, things that they needed to do to remedy their health conditions. And one of Edgar Cayce's all-time favorite, most used remedies was peanut oil. Peanut oil. He had remarkable success with it. And as God is my witness, I don't know why. So this question has always nagged me in the back of my mind. There has to be something going on with oil, above and beyond the negative effects of it from the oxidative stress point of view. But as God is my witness, I don't know what it is. It's interesting to think about, though, yeah?
Yeah, very interesting.
Hey, man, you're the greatest, Leon. I appreciate your call very much. Call me back anytime.
Thanks for the info.
I love questions like this. Yeah, it keeps me honest, keeps me on my toes. Edgar Cayce, I'm going to do a whole segment on Edgar Cayce on one of these Metaphysical Thursdays. If you want to have some fun, do a Google search for Edgar Cayce. He's called the Sleeping Saint. There was a whole foundation in Virginia Beach that grew up around Edgar Cayce, which cataloged all of the psychic readings that he did and which, verified all of the, by way of testimonials, all of the things that his clients improved from under his guidance. And he'd tell people to change their diet and take this herb or that herb or this substance or that substance. And people got better from remarkable things. So for remarkable phenomenon, and Shakespeare said it best, there is more going on. I'm paraphrasing. There's much more going on in the world than is dreamt of in our philosophies. And we take this subject up every Thursday with Metaphysical Thursdays right here on the Genesis Communication Network, GCNlive.com, drglidden.com, and Fire Your MD now. Insider exclusive tonight, live chat webinar for Dr. Glidden insiders and their guests exclusively. That's at 8 o'clock tonight. If you want more information about how to become an insider, check the website out, drglidden.com. Click on the insider button. I'll look forward to seeing you at 8 o'clock tonight Central Time. Matthew from Ohio is up next. Let's go on over to the Ohio River Valley for caller number 2 from Ohio. That hasn't happened in a long time. Let's see what Matt from Ohio is up to. Hey, Matt, thanks for the call. You are live.
Thank you. Yes, I am very live.
That's a good thing, right?
Yes, that's a very good thing. So, this time I'm calling about my sponsor has somebody he works with, and they're both working, so I'm not available to come to the phone. This guy's 55, 5'9", 175 pounds. He has diabetes and Charcot foot.
Oh, Charcot foot. My father had that. My father wouldn't listen to me. And that's a really interesting thing to talk about. A Charcot foot was named after some French doctor, Dr. Charcot, right? Remember, all things.
He is silent.
Yeah, that's right. All things from the proper perspective. MDs love to name diseases and categorize diseases, and they often name them after themselves to immortalize themselves, but they are completely clueless as to what causes the illness and how to fix it. Right. Now, I'd be embarrassed if I was able to discover a brand new disease and didn't know anything, have any functional idea whatsoever about what caused it or what to do about it. I probably wouldn't even bring it to anybody's attention. But the MDs do this all of the time. So if you were to take an X-ray of the foot, a fascinating thing, which is why there are podiatrists, by the way, because the foot is an extremely complicated mechanical device. There's a boatload of little bones in the foot that fit together like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle. And in between each one of the bones, around all the corners of all of those bones, there's cartilage which cushions the entire smorgasbord. And then, of course, you have ligaments and tendons and muscles and everything else that goes along for the ride. But a Charcot foot is when the bones in the foot start to lose their structural integrity and they actually start to dissolve. And when the bones in the foot start to lose their structural integrity, the foot gets all misshapen, the bones pile up on top of each other, and it's a horrible thing to look at. And it's an extremely painful thing to walk on, as you can well imagine, right? I mean, it's nuts. And irony of ironies, one of the easiest things to understand the genesis of, and from our point of view, a relatively easy thing to get on the other side of. So, whenever you see a bone or a joint issue, well, what's the operative cause? Well, do you have a bad gene? No. You have a bad doctor. The problem here is that the body has lost the nutrients necessary to maintain the structural integrity of the foot. It's that simple. And, this person undoubtedly, unwittingly, is consuming on a large scale food that also is pro-inflammatory and that whittles away on the health of his skeleton. And, in this guy, his weakest point in his skeleton is his feet. In other people, the weakest point is their right shoulder or their left knee or their right hip or low back or whatever. Everybody has weaknesses and strengths which the stress of life will take advantage of if you're not careful. In this guy's body, it's his foot. And the other condition was diabetes, did you say?
Diabetes, yeah. And there's a list of things. One of these, I would tell him right away to get off. Torvastatin, he takes 40 milligrams of that a day. Also lisinopril.
Yeah.
And then 180 milligram buffered aspirin every evening.
Well, yeah, it's
metformin.
Yeah. Now, is this type 1 diabetes or 2? It's probably type 2, right?
It's probably type 2, yeah. I didn't ask, but I would wager it's type 2.
And you said his body weight's upwards of 170?
It's 175 pounds, and he's 5'9".
Okay, so the best place to start here, whenever there's blood sugar at play, you always want to support and promote healthy blood sugar levels, because until that gets straightened out, ain't nothing else going to be straightened out. But because everything's connected, when you do a holistic medical intervention for supporting blood sugar optimization, you're also going to be, by definition, by default, supporting and promoting the rest of the body into the bargain. So the best thing for him to do, and I would caution him to do this for 6 months before he judges it, not 3, 6. 2 healthy blood sugar packs, 2 healthy blood sugar packs, original formula, 4 selenium, and 4 bottles of liquid glucogel plus. 4 bottles of liquid glucogel plus, 4 selenium, and 2 healthy blood sugar pack, original formulas a month.
Original formula. Okay.
Plus eliminate the 10 bad foods. Up against the break, Matt. Appreciate your call. Thank you very much. What's that you say? You want to go to Fenway Park? Well, all right. Here's what you do. You go down here till the road gets wicked wide, right around Cumbies. Go in and get yourself a grinder. Why not? Go get a grind at Cumbies. And come back out. Go down again till the road gets wicked narrow. Bang a left, and you'll be right there. I think Ida from Massachusetts knows what I'm talking about. Hey, Ida, thanks for the phone call. You are live.
Dr. Glidden, thank you so much for that welcome. That's really funny.
My old stomping ground. Hey, we got lots of time here, Ida. Before we get into the health stuff, are you a Massachusettsite or are you a transplant?
Transplant from Detroit, Michigan.
Oh, Detroit. Yes. How long you lived in Mass?
Oh, my gosh, over 25 years. It's been quite a while.
Well, and I don't hear the accent yet, so you're doing very well. What part of the state?
Well, I live in a small town called Hopkinton, which is where the Boston Marathon began.
Yeah, you got to love that. Really great. Yeah. Boston's really changed a lot in the last 20 years, don't you think?
Without question. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's still a great city. The best part of the year is coming up, though. What was your winter like? It was crazy bad in Chicago. What was it like in Boston this year?
Oh, it was pretty bad. It was cold and very snowy. Yeah, it was awfully cold, actually.
Well, hopefully we'll have a good summer and we'll all forget about it. So thanks for the call, Ida. How can I help you, by cracky?
Okay, so let me first tell you that I just recently came across your program, and I'm really not all that familiar, but I find myself in a really tight, difficult spot here. So
okay.
So I'm experiencing a number of different things, but my main concern right now is I have severe gastritis. My stomach lining was burned along with my esophagus. My esophagus is better. It doesn't burn anymore like it did before. I had an upper endoscopy. But now the stomach continues to burn. I'm eating very little protein, which really concerns me. I'm only having like 2 tiny small pieces of chicken tenderloins a day. The rest is like all vegetables. And, I'm down to 100 pounds.
That's not good.
But I can't seem to get this to calm down. I've been experiencing this since February.
Well, it's easy to fix. It's easy to get on the other side of it. I'm so glad you called. I'm going to ask you a couple other questions, though. Do you have restless legs or low-grade anxiety or chronic muscle spasms anywhere in your body?
I do not, but what I am experiencing right now, doctor, is palpitations 24/7 and breathing issues. I just really have a hard time breathing. Now,
is it a hard time taking a breath, or what do you mean? Is it like an asthmatic thing, or what's it like?
No, it's almost like I'm holding my breath, but I'm not.
Oh, yeah. Okay, very good. How's your blood pressure? Anybody check that?
I haven't checked that for a while. I typically run very low, but I've been eating a lot of, adding a lot of salt to my food because, it tends to be quite low. So last time I checked was, probably about a month or so ago. It was right around 120/80, somewhere around there.
Okay, and you don't get restless legs at night in bed. Do you have any type of an arthritic condition at all?
No, but I was diagnosed with osteopenia recently.
Okay, good. All right. And when you were having your menstrual cycle, are you still, how old are you?
If I must say, I'll be 60 in...
Well, you don't sound 60. When you were having your period, what was the cramp factor like? Was it, hardly there, mild, moderate, or shoot me now, painful?
No, I really didn't have much of a problem with it. Toward the end, it got to be a little bit more, uncomfortable, but throughout it really wasn't, I bloated a lot, but I didn't really have that much pain. I never really had to take, back or anything for it.
And has anybody ever told you have a kidney stone?
No. Although it's kind of funny because my right around my kidney on the right side, it aches, not constant. Well, constantly, and then it'll go away, and then it aches again, and then it goes away. But no, I've never been told that.
Okay. All right. Well, let me do the rundown here, and if you want to get more specific information with, slides and a PowerPoint presentation, I did a 45-minute webinar on this, which is available to Dr. Glidden Insiders on my website. It's a $20 a month subscription. You can cancel at any time. And you can also listen to the podcast of this radio program because in the very first hour, my introductory monologue, I talked about allergies today. I was talking about gastritis on another radio program that I was on this morning, and I'm confusing the two. Okay, so let me do the rundown for the real reason that people get GERD, gastritis, esophageal reflux, Barrett's esophagus, or just good old-fashioned garden variety heartburn. Okay, you ready?
Yes, but I just want to say one thing before that. I believe this was induced. And
through what?
I say that because I was originally diagnosed with low acid, so I was supplementing with hydrochloric acid a lot for a while because I was really having a lot of digestive issues. Yeah. And then I kind of stabilized, and then I felt the symptoms again, so I started supplementing with hydrochloric acid. At the same time, I was seeing a nutritionist, and she was giving me all these homeopathic products that sort of produce acid. One in particular kind of has a little bit of a burning effect. And so I believe that those things all sort of came together and created the problem that I'm having right now. I don't think it was my body naturally. I think that it was induced. I think it happened because of the things that I was taking. Well,
it's an interesting thing to talk about, and from the proper perspective, everything makes sense. It's entirely possible that there's a burn there, just like you get a burn on your skin, right? It's possible that you irritated the lining of the stomach, and now that's kind of, that's also at play here. But listen, here's the reason that this happens, and when you hear it, it's all going to make sense. Okay. Heartburn is caused not by too much stomach acid, but it's caused by not enough stomach acid. So whenever anybody has not enough stomach acid, low stomach acid, another chemical called gastrin builds up in the stomach. And here's what happens when you're healthy. You'll eat food, chew it up in your mouth, and swallow it, and a big lump of food plummets down into your stomach and sits inside your stomach. And it's sitting inside the stomach. It's pressing against the wall of the stomach, and there are pressure receptors in the wall of the stomach. And when those pressure receptors are stimulated by the presence of food in the stomach, your stomach secretes a biochemical called gastrin. Gastrin. Gastrin is the precursor to hydrochloric acid and pepsin, which are the two main digestive ingredients in your stomach acid soup. It's not just hydrochloric acid. It's a mixture of two things. Hydrochloric acid, well, three things. Hydrochloric acid, gastrin, and pepsin. And they all affect each other like dominoes. So the first domino is food in the stomach. The second domino is the production of gastrin. The third domino is the production of hydrochloric acid, and then the production of pepsin. So if you have food in the stomach, gastrin builds up. Excuse me. Gastrin builds up in the stomach, and then that calls on the stomach to secrete hydrochloric acid into the stomach, and the stomach does that through the mechanism of something called a chief cell, like an Indian chief, chief cell. Chief cells secrete hydrochloric acid into the stomach in the presence of gastrin. Now, if there's gastrin in the stomach because there's food in the stomach and your stomach is trying to secrete hydrochloric acid, if you are deficient in calcium, it can't do it because you need calcium in order to make that little pump squirt the hydrochloric acid out. So if you're calcium deficient, even if you have sufficient amounts of hydrochloric acid, not enough gets squirted out into the stomach, and you have a low stomach acid. And then if you don't have any hydrochloric acid in the stomach, there's no pepsin. And so what happens there, a gastrin builds up in the stomach because it's a negative feedback loop. So more and more gastrin and more gastrin, and still no hydrochloric acid, still no pepsin. After a fashion, there's so much gastrin that is now in the stomach that the presence of excessive amounts of gastrin causes the little valve at the top of your stomach, which opens and closes, to open. It opens the valve at the top of the stomach, and then the gastrin squirts out into your throat, and whatever else is in your stomach squirts out into your esophagus, and it burns it. And that's what causes heartburn. If that gets really bad, it turns into gastroesophageal reflux disease, and then if that gets really bad, it turns into Barrett's esophagus. It's all the same illness, just more and more and more and more of it, and the operative cause is, number one, not enough calcium, and number two, interestingly enough, in order for your body to make hydrochloric acid, it needs chloride, because hydrochloric acid is HCl, hydrogen and chloride. Well, the body can't make chloride, can't make hydrogen either. It can strip hydrogen from water, so that's no problem. Body's 97% water. The body's never deficient in hydrogen. But it's easy to become deficient in chloride, especially if you're on a salt-restricted diet. So the two main causes of heartburn or any type of reflux is, number one, not enough salt in the diet, and number two, not enough calcium. Now, you had a problem initially with actually, I don't know whoever diagnosed that, but they were smart. They did a good job, whoever diagnosed that. It's regrettable that they didn't know how to fix it, right? They didn't know how to fix it. And just dumping hydrochloric acid into the stomach is not going to fix this, because the body knows just how much hydrochloric acid to squirt out at any moment in time. And then, there has to be sufficient amounts of gastrin in there also, and sufficient amounts of pepsin, and the whole thing gets mixed together perfectly by the wisdom of the body. When you just start swallowing acid, not a bad idea, but you're going to develop side effects, and ostensibly that's what happened to you. But even if you didn't get any side effects whatsoever from any of the stuff that you took, none of the stuff that you took got to the root cause of the illness. It's just pushing symptoms around, managing your symptoms. And it's only a matter of time until something breaks. So in order to support and promote a healthy stomach and healthy digestion, it's a relatively easy proposition. The recommendation is there are 90 essential nutrients that the human body needs in order to work effectively. And we're holistic here. So I'm not just going to recommend you do calcium and salt. I'm going to recommend you do calcium and salt and the other essential nutrients that the body needs, because everything works together in a giant, profound, wonderful, majestic, holistic proposition. So the strategy for you is easy. The recommendation is 1 Healthy Start Pack, original formula. 1 original formula Healthy Start Pack. 1 extra bottle, and there's going to be liquid calcium in the Healthy Start Pack, but I want you to have 1 extra bottle of liquid calcium for 1 month. So 1 Healthy Start Pack, 1 bottle of Beyond Osteo FX, which is the liquid calcium, Beyond Osteo FX, and 1 bottle of something called Maqui Plus. Actually, I'd like you to get 2 bottles of that, MAQUI Plus, Maqui Plus. That has aloe vera in it. And I don't know if you've ever put aloe topically on a burn, but aloe internally does the same thing that aloe externally does. It soothes irritated mucous membranes. And I want you to do 1 ounce of the Maqui Plus twice a day. I want you to do 1 ounce of the Beyond Osteo FX twice a day, 1 scoop of the Beyond Tangy Tangerine twice a day, and 3 EFAs today. It's easy breezy lemon squeezy. One more thing you need to do, Ida from Massachusetts. Stick around, and I'll bring you up to speed after the break. And we're back, finishing out today's show, Tuesday, June 10th, 2014, with a Massachusetts IT transplant. Ida, are you still with me?
Right.
You're still here? Okay.
Yes, I am.
All right. Did my little diatribe make sense? Do you understand that?
I do. So you think that's still the case, even though...
No, I know that's the case, because your body, you need calcium. You have the operative thing here. You've been salting your food, so the operative thing here for you is you don't have enough calcium, period. Yeah. Very few people do. I mean, unless you are actively supplementing with a calcium supplement. And I don't care how much milk you drink, right, because calcium is a mineral, right, and animals can't make minerals. Plants can't make minerals. I don't care how good your diet is. The only way that a mineral gets into your body is if the plant that you're eating was growing in soil, which was replete in calcium, and the little roots of the plant touched the calcium, and the calcium the plant took it up into its body. And then, the cow eats the plant, and now there's calcium in the cow, and in the cow's milk, and you drink the milk. Or, calcium in your tomato, you eat the tomato. But I got to tell you something, the soil ain't what it used to be. It's completely deplete. And unless you are actively supplementing with a good, high-quality, absorbable calcium supplement, you have a calcium deficiency. And it's only a matter of time until something breaks. Everybody's body has a weak link. Yours apparently was the stomach. I think you might have messed things up with the digestive herbs and the hydrochloric acid. But none of these things ever fixed the root cause, which was not enough calcium, right? Mm-hmm. So you got to fix that. And when you fix that, everything works. And, it might take you a little while longer to get on the other side of it if there has actually been tissue damage engendered by the hydrochloric acid digestive supplement that you were taking. But the stomach fixes itself lickety-split. The reproductive tract and the liver fix themselves lickety-split. It's a really easy thing to get on the other side of, but I'm going to give you a little heads up also. Yeah. When I went to the University of Massachusetts years ago, and when I was going to school there, you could smoke in bars. They hadn't passed the law that said you couldn't do that, right? And I was never a smoker, but we'd go to the local pub and, watch the hockey game, right, or the baseball game, and you're surrounded by people who smoke. And after you're in there, that environment for long enough, you don't smell the smoke anymore. You habituate to it. You get used to it. Right. And then you leave the bar, at halftime or whatever, go get something from your car, And when you come in, as soon as you open the door, it's, oh my God, is it smoky in here? It's exactly the same thing with nutrient deficiencies. Your body has gotten used to being calcium deficient. And I got to tell you, if you're calcium deficient, you're also deficient in a boatload of other nutrients, and you have gotten used to it. Your body's gotten used to operating, at 30% capacity, and you have habituated to it, gotten used to it. So, when you finally get a clue, find somebody who has a clue, like me, and you get on board with science-based, clinically verified medical nutrition that actually works, your body sucks that stuff up like a dry sponge sucks up a puddle of water. I'm telling you, you're going to love how you feel, and you're going to notice positive results, I would say, within 72 hours. And it's not just going to be in your stomach, because everything's connected. And this is one of the beauties of holistic medical nutrition, because when you finally start the right program, get the right stuff into your body in the right amounts in a comprehensive holistic fashion, a lot of different things start to brighten up. Mood gets better, energy gets better, sleep gets better, concentration gets better, appetite gets better, weight gets better, and, finally the stomach gets better. So how'd you hear about us, Ida?
Well, I was watching a Christian program, and...
Benny Hill?
Yes. I just happen to be changing the channel. And,
all right, so I'm going to give you a number to call because we want to support. This is a grassroots organization, and I want you to call this number to get these supplements that I wanted you to get. If you call this number, you'll get the supplements at the wholesale price. You'll support Benny Hill's mission, and you'll also be aligned with a distributor, a longevity distributor, who can help you figure out how to take this stuff if you have a problem. That number, 800-691-1730, 800-691-1730. Tell them Dr. Glidden sent you. So happy to talk to somebody from Massachusetts. Appreciate you, Ida. Call us back in about 3 weeks with a report. I will look forward to it. God willing and the creek don't rise, 8 o'clock tonight, live chat for insiders and their guests exclusively. Live long and prosper. See you tomorrow.